Hello all and welcome, and I'm the MGTOW philosopher, and in this video I would like to discuss fat women and why men do not find them attractive. Now, of course, feminists and fat women, which are often the same thing because it's hard to find a feminist that isn't fat or ugly or fugly, meaning both. And they like to say that, oh, well, men who objectify women are horrible. They should look at the inner beauty. They shouldn't care about the outer beauty. Of course, they say that because they have no outer beauty and probably no inner beauty either. And no man would ever objectify her, except maybe to look at her and maybe think of like a hot dog or something, or a hamburger or some other fatty food. So that might be the only way he might objectify her. So, yeah, fat women, feminists, they like to complain about how horrible men are and how they objectify them. Well, objectify women, not them specifically, because they're fat hogs. And, well, they're really just bitter and angry because no man would ever objectify them or be attracted to them, and that's where a lot of this man-hating feminism comes from women who no man would ever find attractive. And the reasons for why men do not find fat women attractive are, I think, pretty obvious. And this picture perfectly demonstrates most of them. Not all, but the main ones. And let's go over them one by one and emphasize just how much validity they have. Now, number one, she doesn't have the entire package that men look for in a woman. For example, her neck, jawline, hips, stomach, butt, and legs are thrown out of shape by the excess fat. Yeah, that's true. A pretty face isn't enough for a man to find her attractive. Right. So you always hear this with fat women. Oh, but she has such a pretty face. She has a pretty face. That should be enough. That's not enough. And you know, these days, especially if you're an American man, you're not too picky in that regard. I mean, you'll take a so-so looking woman if she's not a fat hog, because you throw some makeup on there, some plaster of Paris, you can make her up to look pretty decent. But if she's fat, no way. So we're not as critical as we used to be insofar as what we'll accept, unless we're really rich, really high status, and then, well, you know, we can get the best. And I guarantee you those best are thin and hot, and they have no problem being objectified by a man. Number two, she looks like used goods. And I'm not sure if you guys out there can read the small letters. They're very, very small. I'll read them for you. So number two, she looks like used goods. An overweight woman looks like she's recently had children. Yeah, she's all stretched out, stretch marks everywhere. Instinctively, men are turned off by the idea of having to take care of the offspring of another man. Ah, right. So here's the thing. The person who wrote this, which is obviously a man, is absolutely right. He is 100% correct. Men don't like used goods, and women look like an old, stretched-out leather bag, you know, that's had too much shit stuffed into it, and over time it's gotten all these bulges in the leather that's been stretched out. It's just not a good look. Not good at all. We like fresh. We like new. We like that new car smell. You can equate women to new cars. It's great to have that new Mercedes in '85, but 20 years later, that Mercedes ain't looking so great, and it's an 85, and it's got a few 100,000 miles on it, so it's really not that much of a thrill to drive anymore. The gears don't shift quite as quick. It doesn't have that get up and go and pep. The gas mileage isn't what it used to be. The paint's kind of faded. The interior is a little worn out and beat up. Well, that's women who are fat slobs, okay? And this can be a fat slob woman even if she's 20. Number three. Her body makes unattractive sounds during sex because of her excess fat. Thwap, flap, flap. Yeah, that's not attractive. Her excess fat causes loud thwapping and slapping type sounds that are unattractive and that do not occur with a woman who is healthy or of normal weight. Yeah, right. So essentially, that's not such a bad sound if it's coming only from the back, but when you've got thwapping coming from every area of her body where the folds of fat are slapping together, this is not attractive, nor is seeing that a very attractive thing. No, that's a major turnoff. No question. Number four, she lowers a man's social status. Yeah, I mean, who can argue with that, right? I mean, if you're a halfway successful guy and you look decent and you got this big fat cow on your arm, everybody's going to be looking at you thinking, what the fuck is he doing with a big fat cow? I know I do it. Anytime I see a decent-looking guy with an ugly woman, I'm like, what the fuck? He can do better than that. And then, of course, when I see a hot-looking chick with a really ugly guy, I think to myself, hey, she could do better than that, but she probably is on the side. He's just got money. So, number 4, a man with a beautiful, sexy girlfriend or wife is looked up to, whereas a man with a fat woman is looked down upon by people, even friends, family, and coworkers. Everyone knows that her excess fat is gross. Right, it's a social status thing, and a man doesn't want to have social status that's lower than that which he could attain. Number 5, she is unhealthy. Yeah, I mean, this is an obvious one. It's no secret that excess weight brings on diseases and illnesses. Men are attracted to healthy, youthful-looking women, regardless of if the woman is 40. Men will find her attractive if she looks youthful and healthy. Yeah, she'd have to look pretty goddamn youthful at age 40. I'm getting up there in age, and I don't want a most 40-year-old woman. I've seen some that are attractive, but the majority are just hideous. So I would probably have to beg to differ on that point. Woman that's over 40 that looks good enough to be bangable compared to, say, a 20, 25-year-old, needle in a haystack. They exist, but they're just not that common. But yeah, she's very unhealthy. I mean, imagine the health insurance cost of having to insure this broad. Good Lord. I mean, that's if you're paying for her, of course. She's a big, fat, ugly slob. She's probably got a degree. She's probably got a job because no man is going to pay for her. So you might not have to pay for that if you were dumb enough to marry her, that is, which you should never do. It's doubly true for a fat woman because, and this segues into reason 6, her diet costs a lot of money. Women know that the way that she eats will be a big waste of money. Yeah, okay, so this is one that's never talked about with fat women, okay? They're very expensive to keep, okay? Very expensive. It's not like owning a dog or something, all right? Yeah, dogs eat, but you just buy a big bag of fucking dog food. I guess it's a bunch of old mown grass and hay and shit compressed into these little pill-looking things that I can't see how appetizing that is, but dogs seem to like it. They throw in little juice from something to add some kind of meaty flavor, but it's pretty cheap-ass food. I mean, a big bag of dog food, $20, $30, you fed the dog for a fucking month. It's going to cost a hell of a lot more than that to feed the fat slob that's in this picture. You better have a big pocketbook, buddy. You want to feed that. Number 7, she will likely pass on her bad habits to children. Yeah. You got a fat wife, you're going to have fat kids too. And then they're going to cost a hell of a lot of money. Imagine being a father and then double all the food costs in your house because all your kids and your wife are fat pigs. Maybe even triple them. Does that sound like fun to you? So you get 2 kids, it's like having 4 kids. Or maybe 6 kids if they're fat enough. Oh boy! And I get to pay for that. Well, she sits home on her ass eating bonbons and watching Oprah, who teaches her to hate me because I'm a man. Oh, no thank you. Number 8, she looks older than she actually is. When a woman gets older, parts of her body naturally sag. For a fat woman, the sagging happens at any age because of the excess fat pulling downwards. Right, gravity does its job. So if you're a big fat slob at 25, you might look like a 40-year-old because all that fat pulling on the skin and making it sag before it's time. Is that real attractive? You want a woman that looks like who has a body like your 80-year-old grandma with tits down to her knees hanging there, where there's no bra on earth that would hold all that up? You really want that? I mean, you want a woman whose tits are so saggy she's got to roll them up to stuff them into a bra. Do you really want that? See, I don't want that. If I wanted to be fucking grandmas, I'd be fucking grandmas. But if I'm with a 25-year-old broad, I want to be with a 25-year-old broad, not somebody who's got the body of an 80-year-old. Number 9, she's probably lazy. Probably? You think? If we're looking at the same picture with the big fat X over it, I would say she's definitely very lazy. Fat women get tired very easy. Yeah, they're carrying a lot of excess weight. Just imagine carrying around 80, 100 pounds. See, women in the military can't do it. You throw on an 80-pound pack on their back, and they just fall down. Hey, help me up, help me up. And they can't carry another human being that's a man, and they probably couldn't even pick up and carry a woman. So imagine having to carry another person's weight everywhere you go. Well, you're going to get tired real easy. Yeah, which means men will often be left to do more or most of the housework and take care of the children. Right. So here's the problem with a fat woman. Taking care of kids, if you marry her, is a lot of work. Okay? This is why we as human beings, as men, we still have strength, we still have stamina because it's a necessity. If we didn't need it, we would have lost it just like the tail we had at one time way, way long ago. And most of the body hair and fur that we used to have, because it didn't serve a purpose. Evolution got rid of it. But we still have a need for stamina. We still have a need for some level of strength. So that's why we still have these properties. Now, a big fat woman isn't going to have very much stamina or endurance because she's a lazy slob, so she's not doing much work, so she's not in very good shape. And she's basically trained to sit and watch TV. That's what she's trained to do. And eat. She's trained to eat. She eats very well. I'm sure that her arm is very fit. But the rest of her, unfortunately, is not so toned and in shape. So you're going to end up doing most of the work, and you get to be married to a big fat slob who doesn't do anything. And not only do you get no benefit, but it's a net loss even while you're married, which is actually most marriages anyway. You just have the unfortunate luck of being married to a fat woman. So in addition to having all the money sucked out of your wallet, now you're doing all the housework too. Of course, with a modern American woman, you probably also would be ending up doing most of the housework. But hopefully she's not a big fat pig. If she is, that's a double whammy. Number 10, she would likely be a selfish relationship partner. Nah, you think? A fat woman signals that she is selfish and does whatever she likes. No impulse control. Right. Even if it is bad for her, a man knows that trying to get a fat woman to eat right and look attractive is going to be a huge battle. Right. So trying to change people is like impossible. People have to want to change themselves. You can't change other people. So if you have a big fat person you're in love with, first of all, I would have to say, where's your self-esteem? What are you thinking? You can control how you feel. So choose not to love that person and get the hell out of that relationship. Because if you're dumb enough to marry her, she's going to be the most selfish partner you've ever been with, and you're going to get no joy out of it at all. Not that you would either way, but it's going to be far less even than you wouldn't get if you were with a thin woman. Because most, Western women are bitches anyway. But add to that a big fat slob. Oh my God. You just went from like the second or third level of hell right to the 9th level, okay? There are differing degrees of hell. And you've just hit the final layer being married to a chick like this. And the other reason that isn't here but should be is the biological imperative. And it's talking about the health and other things that play into that. Yeah, we don't like used goods. And the health factor. And the main thing is that the quality of her genetics are not going to be good. You see, the physical condition that your body is in affects your chromosomes and what you pass on to your child in the form of positive and negative qualities, okay? Right down to the kind of habits you have. So if you get a big, fat, ugly wife and who's not very healthy, she's going to pass on some really jacked up genes to her kids, okay? And through millions of years of evolution, we have learned these things intrinsically. We don't want the big fat woman because essentially she is not going to procreate with quality children. She's not going to create the best quality kids. That's why we're so attracted in large part to a specific body type, because that is going to lead to the most officious circumstances for a healthy child, a good offspring, strong offspring that might survive all the hurdles and pitfalls of life that existed at a time when saber-toothed tigers would bite your fucking head off and eat you. Of course, today things are too easy, so now women really don't have to adhere to these kind of standards. And of course, way, way, way back then, food was in scarce supply, so women were going to be skinny anyway, which was a positive if you ask me. Now they got too much. And they got it so easy, and now they don't have to do as much competing for men, because so many of them say, I don't need men, I don't want men, and they just live off the state, live off the government. That's why you got so many fat pigs. So these are 10 very good reasons for why men do not find women attractive. And the 11th that I threw in was kind of a hybridization of a few of these aimed at a very specific biological imperative, which is addressed separately but not in its completeness, in that men are biologically attracted to a certain body type because it speaks fertility, it speaks better quality genetics, better quality chromosomes. She's going to probably create a better quality child. Not to mention the fact she looks young, and when they're young, their eggs are at their best quality, least degradation, and of course a big fat woman looks old. I mean, all the things that are net negatives to having children are represented in big fat women, okay? And so that's why we're not attracted to them. Along with these other reasons here, which are very, very good ones. So if you marry a fat woman, you idiots, who have no self-esteem, she's going to be selfish, lazy, old-looking. If she isn't already, she's going to get older looking real quick. You're going to have fat kids who drain your wallet. She's going to drain your wallet. She's going to be unhealthy. She's going to lower your status and make you look like an idiot just by being married to her. Unattractive and will make very strange sounds during sex and will be very unattractive to look at, like riding the wave in. Not attractive. She looks like an old used leather handbag from like the 1940s, and she just doesn't have anything that a man would want in terms of appearance. I mean, unless you're a chubby chaser. And there are guys out there that are fat aficionados who like fat women. That's a fetish. It's not the norm. I would say it's less than 1%. And ain't a lot of chubby chasers out there. But by and large, men don't like them. And these are 10 very good reasons for why not. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I'm wishing you a good day. Take care.